योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचां मनः शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योगाकरोक्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Palms on the face. So, a very good evening to all of you. Good. Okay. So we will get on to the discussion. Let me share the screen. Right. Good. Right. So we were discussing. Yeah. So then we talked about the 4 types of glaciers, the 4 states of glaciers. One is fully dormant, right? Nothing. So at a particular point of time, this glacier doesn't come up. Then the other one is this glacier is just about to, so that is there, but not active. Then a little bit active, then it's fully active. So these are the 4 states of glaciers. Then we talked about mistaking the transient for the permanent. What is impermanent, you mistake as permanent. You think, I am young, my body is young, I don't have wrinkles on my face, right? And this will stay there forever. My eyesight will stay there forever. My hearing will stay there forever. We all will come to a stage that our eyesight will deteriorate. We all will, maybe we might walk blindly, right? And we might have a situation where we use hearing aids, and at a point we might lose the hearing itself. We might lose the ability to talk. We might lose the ability to move our limbs. We might lose the ability to do yoga itself, right? So thinking that this will not happen, which means thinking that your current state will be permanent or your wealth will be permanent, the love by your loved ones or people around you will be permanent, is a avidya. Then you understand the impure as pure, right? For a great example is maybe fast food, artificial food is delicious, right? But is it the right thing? Is it the purest thing? Is it the purest form of food? No, right? Processing a food, you don't know how many hands, how many machines, what sort of soil, what sort of chemicals will come there. But rather than eating a raw fruit, raw vegetable, the processed vegetable, processed food feels delicious, right? So mistaking the impure for pure and mistaking the pain for pleasure. Example, I would say this is a little hard example, a love between a mother and son, mother and daughter, right? So we think it's a pleasure, right? Having a child, being the child around you, everything is a pleasure. But then actually it's the bond, right? When the person is going to leave you, you start to feel the pain. So why that is happening? Because of a bond, right? And that which is not the self as the self. So right now, if I ask you, in this body, where is your self? Is it here? 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 If the whole face is not yourself, why you identify yourself as the face or your face as yourself, right? So, and not having not having this correct spiritual knowledge is the source for all of these. So we call this whole package as avidya, right? So then we went to the 6th sutra where we talked about egoism is the identification of the seer with the instrumental power of seeing. So, because I can see, because I can hear, because I can smell, because I can feel, right? Because I can walk and all of these things, I believe myself is existing. So, I am better. I am better than you. I can do a yogasana better than you. Or Jayanthan can do a yogasana better than you. So Jayanthan is superior. Varuni has certain knowledge about certain, so she is superior. So what are we right now doing is we are identifying the selves, people, right, as entities. So that is what you call as egoism. Here, the egoism, not that, I am the president, not that egoism, right? This egoism is you identifying yourself as a separate entity, right? So that is egoism. So that is what you call as asmita, right? That is also a klesha. Then, so because that you have a person to be identified, only you start bonding with things. I want to do this. I like this. I love this. Likewise, right? Then we talked about what is the next klesha. Pleasure leads to desire and emotional attachment. Things which gives you pleasure, you automatically bond with. That's exactly what this means, right? If somebody come and talk to you nicely, you have a feeling, okay, that is a nice person. Next day, if the same person come and talk to you harshly, now you are hurt, right? If a person first time itself come and talk to you harshly, you will want to stay away from that person, right? So you don't want to, start a bond with that person, right? Only the things which gives you pleasure, you start to have desires, then start to have emotional attachments. So there is a particular person. That person talked to me nicely. If the person doesn't call, now you feel bad. Now you feel upset. Start thinking. What is this whole thinking, moody, whole process is basically the pain. So pleasure leads to desire and emotional attachment. Then Patanjali says, unhappiness leads to hatred. So pleasure, so we'll take the same example. If somebody come and talk to you nicely, you want to have a bond with that person. You like to have another conversation with that person. On the same time, if somebody, while you are driving, maybe somebody scold you, right? Somebody scold you or somebody talk harshly at you. Then what happens? You become unhappy, right? You become unhappy. When you are unhappy, that leads to hatred. So the hatred between two people, between a group of people, between the whole world, which starts to even to transform to a war, right? All these things start with a little tiny little bit of unhappiness, right? So if you are a person who has gone beyond happiness and unhappiness, whatever the situation comes on your way, you look at it in a middle path, which we call as upeksha, right? So if you are a person who go like that, there's no seed. There will be no unhappy seeds in your mind. Whoever come and talk to you nicely, not so nicely, doesn't matter, right? So we are not like that only. We are starting the war, right? Hatred. Then self-preservation or attachment to life is the subtlest of all afflictions. So out of the kleshas that we discussed, not having the knowledge, the self, ego, and then unhappiness, or you start to bond with things, all of these, out of all of these things, even a very wise person will have this particular klesha called self-preservation. If somebody knock at your door right now, let's say God, right? Let's say God come and knock at your door right now and say, come, let's go, I'll give you moksha. I'll give you nirvana right now. What would you do? You will not go. Because for you to have nirvana, you have to die first. You have to die and finish it. Right? We are not ready to die because tomorrow we have an agenda. Day after tomorrow we have some work to do. Tonight we have some work to do. I have my checks in the bank and some funds are coming on my way. I have to pay these people, those people. I have my things to settle before I go for nirvana. We are not going for nirvana. We are going to hell with that. Right? So if the God come and knock at your door and say, let's go right now, should be able to go. If you are a person who have that type of discipline, then you are out of that klesha. Right? What happened now? Okay, good. Then, so this particular klesha is there even with the wisest people who have the self-knowledge and everything, but still, these people, if at all, if they have gone above or beyond all the kleshas, this particular klesha, there is a very high chance it will be still there. Then we talked about subtle afflictions are to be minimized by and eradicated by a process of evolution, right? So contemplating on things, so you need to understand in your mind what are the kleshas. Am I a so passionate person, right? You have to, really sit down and think, what are the things that I am bonded with? Am I bonded with relationships? Am I bonded with material things, vehicles, cars? Vehicles, cars, both are the same. Houses, land, all these things. Am I a person who is bonded by that? Am I a person bonded by the prestige, ego, right? So what sort of a person I am? What sort of a person are you? Right? So you need to understand what are the things that you yourself has a tendency to be bounded with. Meaning in simple English, right? What are the things that you love and what are the things that you hate, right? So that basically defines who you are, right? So you need to understand that and go into detail, why I like this because of this reason, why that reason because of this, why that reason because of this. Likewise, you need to basically go into detail, and then need to get to the root and go beyond it, right? Then Patanjali says the fluctuations of consciousness created by gross and subtle afflictions are to be silenced through meditation. How we go there is through meditation, right? So, chapter 3, from its first line itself, it talks this particular meditation, how to go for it, right? From the first line itself, it talks about this particular meditation, how we go, what are the steps to follow. When you close your eyes, okay, this comes to your mind, what to do with that, likewise, it will tell you. Preparing you for that is the work of chapter 2, right? So we are moving to the newer sutras today, not newer sutras, basically same sutra, but we are starting 12th sutra. Klesha mulaha karma shayaha drishta adrishta janma vedanyaha, meaning klesha mulaha. What is klesha? Klesha is an affliction, right? Mulaha is a root. The root of the klesha, karma shayaha, meaning the action is so your action can be in this life, previous life, it can be visible, not visible, and that is what gives you the life, right? So these days, there's a particular thing going on with our country. So by the end of these sutras, by the end of the 20th sutra, we can properly understand why we are experiencing this, right? So this sutra meaning, simple English meaning is the accumulated imprints of past lives rooted in afflictions will be experienced in present and future lives. Any philosophy, if you take Buddhism, Hinduism, all the philosophies talk about this. This is not something new. This is not something that you learn for the first time. So what it says is, what are the imprints of past lives? Meaning, from what you have done with your past life, you must have accumulated either merits or demerits, right? Merits or demerits you must have accumulated in your past life actions. Actions done by your physical body, done by your mouth, by the word, and done by the mind, thinking part of it, right? So, based on those three things, right, what you do is basically based on what you gather with your five senses, right? So, we have five senses and the karmendriya. Karmendriya, like our hands, excretion, legs, talking, all these things, the output. Input are our sensory organs, output are our karmendriya. So with what we have, with those, what we have done in our past lives, right, is what is being rooted in these kleshas, right? And these will be experienced in your present life as well as past life, right? Then next sutra says, Sati mule tad vipakaha jati ayuhu ogaha. Ogaha is enjoying, experiencing the pleasures. Yoga is the quite opposite of it, right? You are fully joyful, but not through the pleasures or external pleasures. You are joyful internally. Yoga is you are joyful with the external things, right? So, sati mule, the existing root, tad vipakaha, the vipaka or the consequences, jati, class or the birth, will be there through the span of your life. Meaning, as long as the root of the actions exists, what are the root of the actions? Those kleshaha, what you have accumulated with your past life, merits or demerits. And it will give rise to class of birth, span of life, and experiences. Again, going back to 12th Sutra, the 12th Sutra said, based on your past life, good things, bad things you have done, you have accumulated karma. And 13th Sutra says, those karma gives you the seed of the kleshas for this life. What sort of a person are you in this life? Are you a butcher, right? Are you or a sex addict? Are you a politician? I don't know, right? Should not take those examples, right? Or who you are, those, the klesha, are you so much greed to power? So all these klesha, these are actually coming, not coming as brand new in this life, in this span of life. These are coming as the results of what you have done in your previous lives, right? So based on that only, you will be born to what caste, on what date, to which parents, to what sort of a environment. So some people say, I am born to a poor family. And some say, I am born to a richer family. Some say, I am born to a middle class family, right? Why you, so you are not born to a middle class or upper class or a poor family by mistake. You are being plotted to the right pot in this life based on your account balance in the last life, right? You have credit and debit in your account, whether credit side is higher or debit side is higher, good side is higher or not so good side is higher. Based on this closing balance, your this life opening balance starts. You're like accounting, karma accounting, right? So based on that only, you are born to your parents. I am born to my parents because of my past karma, right? So there are very rich people in this world, very rich, very dharmic, but they don't have kids. The answer to that is, there is a very handful number of people who have done, who is having a proper closing balance in their past life to be born like a place like that. Right now, don't think, you right now our country is going through all this hell, so we are born to this country at this time, to these parents, to this house, to this city because of my past karma, right? There are merits and demerits. I'll explain that in the next couple of sutras, right? Everything is not negative, right? Everything is not positive. Everything is middle path. Okay, so then coming to 14th sutra, Patanjali says, okay, te hlada paritapa, tapa, tapas, paritapa. Plaha punya apunya hetutvat. Hetutvat. Hetu is in Sinhala itself, Hetu is a reason or caused by or the account of. Hetutvat means being caused by. Punya apunya is virtues and vices. More than virtues and vices, I would say assets and liabilities. If you do a good one, it's an asset. If you do a bad thing, apunya, it's a liability. You have to, exhaust it, right? Phalaha meaning fruits. Phala in Sinhala, phalaturu, phala, these are fruits. Fruit is basically the result. So paritapa, pain, anguish, or grief. So according to our good, bad, or mixed actions, quality of our life, its span, and the nature of birth are experienced as being pleasant or painful, right? So one would argue, if that is the case, let's say I am given already a lifespan, 50 years, right? So no point of doing pranayama, right? Because my pranayama teacher says, you do pranayama every day, I guarantee you 120 years to live. But then Patanjali says in the 14th Sutra in chapter 2, based on your good, bad, mixed actions, only the quality of your life, lifespan, and the nature of birth are experienced. So if I am being born to die at 50, then what's the point of doing this pranayama? For that also we will come to the answer. There is a particular element in this life that you have control, right? Good. So again, so this is not only applicable to humans, right? So based on good, bad, and mixed feeling, mixed actions, the quality of your life, its span, and the nature of birth. So in what sort of a yoni you will be born? Is it a mother's womb? Is it a dog's womb? Is it a cow's womb? Or is it a worm or anything? Or inside an egg? We don't know. So based on your action only, that also get determined. Based on your past life actions only, the type of birth, lifespan, your living quality, all these things are determined. Moving to Sutra number 15, then he says, Parinama, Parinama. What is Parinama? Change. Change. Parinama Vada, the Charles Darwin's Parinama Vada, right? So Parinama, the change, alteration. Tapa, tapa, heat, tormenting or burning. Samskara dukkhaiha guna vritti virodhacha dukkham eva sarvam vivekinaha. Meaning, parinama, you can change through tapas, the samskaras, which are dukkha, which are belong to the three gunas, right? Cha dukkham eva sarvam vivekinaha, right? The man of discrimination, the enlightened person, knows how to utilize the given life to you in this birth. Right? The wise man knows that owing to fluctuations, right, the qualities of the nature, the subliminal impressions, even pleasant experiences are tingled with sorrow and keeps aloof of them. So the wise man, who is a wise man? Who have the spiritual knowledge, not the man with 15 BScs, MScs, or PhDs, right? The wise man who is beyond avidya, right? Who is a person beyond avidya? Who sees the truth as truth, pain as pain, pleasure as also pain. He knows the pain which is covered by this pleasure, right? What is impure as impure, what is pure as pure, right? So that particular person, that wise person knows that even in this life, whatever the experiences, whatever the present experiences that we are experiencing is tangled with a pain factor. Everything will lead to pain only. right? So he knows how to stay away from them, meaning how to stay detached, right? So, for an example, I like a particular color to my room. So I put that particular color, I paint it. I paint it in purple, right? Or white, right? So so on the day that I paint it, or when I imagine about painting it, I'm happy. Then the news announces the paint prices have gone. Now I'm unhappy. Then I paint it somehow. Then again, I'm happy. Then when the paint get corroded or when the paint get destroyed, then again I'm unhappy, right? So all the pleasures that you experience is entangled with a pain factor. The wise man knows this. Whatever the pleasures, whatever the material pleasures that you experience in life is tangled with a pain factor. Are we clear up to that point? 15th Sutra, understood? Good. Then 16th Sutra he says, Heyam Dukkham Anagatam. What is Anagatam? Anagata is future, right? Anagatam, not yet come, or future, unknown. Actually, future is unknown. Anagata or future is what is unknown. Next moment, what will happen, you don't know. Dukkham is sorrow. Heyam, to be avoided. The pain which are yet to come can be and are to be avoided. So now let's see how. Now pains are yet to come. So after this class, I don't know what will happen. After this class, maybe my laptop will break. Now I am sad. What to do? So much money. Right now the dollar is gone up, skyrocketed through the charts. Now what is going to happen to me? Right? So I don't know. I do not know. I have to go out after the class. I don't know whether I will return back. Right? So you never know. So whatever the things which are yet to come, or whatever the things which are future, is the unknown thing. Even though we plan it as so much known, we structure it, we plan it, all of it we do, but we actually don't know what will happen. We have no idea, we have no control. But you can do one thing, you can avoid the pain and agony which can happen in future. How? Through the self-knowledge. If you can tune up your mind to become a person in the middle path, you are not getting too much attached to anything. You are so that you don't get too much pleasure and you don't get in result too much pain. So if that is the case, if you are like a person, okay, even if I die in the next moment, that's fine, right? Which means one of those kleshas, right? You have gone beyond one of those kleshas. What is that? Abhinivesha, bhavatanha, right? You are so scared to die is bhavatanha. If you feel like it's okay, I have done my duties. I have done my duties. I have lived a good life. I have done my the punyas that I'm supposed to do. So anytime, even if I die, that's fine. I'm ready to go. Right? Not Shiva. Mara comes and knocks the door. Say, let's go. Right? You are ready. There's a nice movie, a Tamil movie, write down. It's called Vinodya Chittam. Right? I don't know whether I pronounced it right. Vinodya Chittam, right? So that actually is a movie about suddenly the man is dead. At the moment he think about, okay, now I'm done, I'm dead. Suddenly he is dead. Then the movie shows the god of death come and meet him. Then he says, where am I? I can't die right now. I can't die because I have 3 children. I have to get them married. I have this loan to be settled. I have my career goals, right? Then the Lord of Death says, okay, fine. I'll give you 3 months to live, right? So the whole movie is about the 3 months. So at the end of the 3 months, even before 3 months, he says, now it's enough, right? Let's go. Right? Such a great movie. It's a Tamil movie. Find it with the subtitles. I don't know whether you have already watched it. But it's worth watching. 2 hours, 6 hours investing on that would be really good, right? And that will feel like, you are hit your head with a metal. And that if you feel like that, you have a long way to go, right? Good. So the pain which are yet to come can be and are to be avoided. You have to avoid it by investing yourself right now on the spiritual knowledge. Right now, do the yoga so that you can avoid the pains yet to come. So, why the pains are yet to come? Why your life is designed in such a way that you will get a pain in future because of your previous karmas, because your account balance is not very good, right? Because of that, you are yet to experience certain sorrows. But right now, if you elevate your mind, if you elevate your knowledge towards spiritual knowledge, there is a chance that you can bring that agonies or sorrows to a residual. Yeah, good. So that's why in Buddhism, there is a story called Angulimal, right? Yeah, I don't have the picture here, but there was a picture. So Angulimala, his name was Ahinsaka, the innocent one, right? So a set of people or his guru or somebody poisons him with some thoughts and say, this particular guru asks you to bring a garland with 100 thumbs, right? So he keep on hunting for thumbs, right? Then lastly, he went after Lord Buddha also to cut his thumb. And then what Lord Buddha did is, okay, he realized this person has the closing balance in past life to be enlightened. But because of this life's action, plus a past life's demerit, has resulted him to go into further hell, right? By doing demerits, right? Then Lord Buddha sat with him. Lord Buddha made it a chance to stop him and then gave him the spiritual knowledge and made him understand the spiritual knowledge. Then he became enlightened, right? He had a long journey, right? Even after he became a monk, people started, throwing stones at him. People started trying to kill him, right? But through that, he went through a middle path. He didn't started hating them, or he didn't started going after pleasures. So he went after a middle path. So he avoided the life which is beyond him, or which he was yet to experience, the hell of a life. He avoided that and enlightened. So right now, investing in your spiritual life, right now understanding the spiritual concept, right now doing your sadhana will basically change your future, right? 17th Sutra. Drishta, Drashta, Drashya, Yoha, Samyogaha, Heya, Hetuha. Meaning, Drashtra, the seer, the Purusha, the ultimate person, ultimate Purusha. Drashya Yoha, the seen, the known, the nature, which we also call as Prakriti, which is the nature created in your head, is what is called as Prakriti, right? Otherwise, the ultimate nature, which is beyond this whole universe, is called the Purusha, the ultimate truth. But the nature which you have created in your head, the environment, we call is Prakriti. Samyogaha, these two becoming together, right, is the ground or the reason to be relinquished, go beyond, right? The cause of the pain is the association or identification of the seer with the seen, Atma with this Prakriti, and the remedy lies in their disassociation. Now, don't get scared. It's not a complicated one. It's an easy one, right? So, you and I are part of this whole nature, universe. Right now, how many people are here? Let's say there are 8 people, including myself. So, even though we live in Colombo, Sri Lanka, Asia, South Asia, island, without power, with power, whatever, right? Even though we all look like the same, we are living in our own worlds. The world that I am living in much is different to Jayanthan's world, Sadish's world, Nilushi's world, Arguni's world, Varuni's world, right? So what is being gathered through your senses and the world that you are living in, even if we sit next to each other, is totally different, right? The problems happen when you want to make these two lives. I want to see what this person see, also the same, identical worlds. You can't live in identical worlds. You are living in different worlds. So why you are living in different worlds? Because of what you gather and how you process based on your knowledge, based on where you are in your spiritual journey, you are having a different life. So this whole universe is there, and this whole universe has a universal truth, and you are there. So having these two seen as two different things, meaning universe says ultimate truth is everything is built through 5 elements, and these 5 elements, whatever built through it, whatever it is built, is constantly changing. It is never permanent, right? It doesn't have a color, it doesn't have a smell. All these things are relative. I mean, there's nothing to be excited about. But you, on the other hand, oh, no, no, no. This car is a Mercedes, which is better than this car. This house is like this, which is better than this house. My life's quality depends on what a big house that I'm living in. So this type of a world that you have created, which means you are so much away from the ultimate truth. As far as these two are too separate, then you have a problem. Then the pain process will be continuing, right? But then, on the other hand, if these two things are one, what I know, what the world or what the universe is all about, if these two are the same, then this pain factor will go away. You will not get excited for anything. You will not find something as pain, you will not find something as pleasure, right? Because you know behind everything there's only one truth which lies. As far as you know that, you don't even see something as a pleasure, right? It's not that you saw something as a pleasure, then you realize it. No, if you know the truth, you don't even see that as a pleasure, right? So that's what 17th Sutra says. So if these two, if our understanding, if Atma and the Prakriti understanding is the same, then pain process will stop. So which means you must gain the spiritual knowledge, right? Moving to the 18th Sutra, what it says is, Prakasha Kriya Sthiti Seelam Bhutendriyat Makam Bhoga Avargartam Drishyam. Prakasha, brilliance or clearness. Kriya, action. Sthiti, Sthiti Dandasana, steady. Then Stila Dandasana. Sthiti Tadasana, meaning like this. Stila is like this, right? So steadiness, firmness. Seelam, disposition, right? Everybody has seelam. One seelam is not to kill. Other person's seelam is to kill, right? What is the seelam that you are living in? Bhutam, Panchabhutas, 5 elements, right? Indriya, the 5 senses, the mind, and the 5 organs of action. Altogether, how many indriyas? 11. Mind, 5 senses, and 5 organs of action. 11, right? Then Atmakam, the nature or essence. Bhoga, not yoga, bhoga is enjoyment of pleasures. Apavarga means liberation, right? So these words also, don't worry about this. You don't have to go through individual things, but get the essence of the meaning of what Patanjali is trying to teach you. So the nature, which is what is around us, right? Its three qualities. What are its three qualities? Everything in this nature is being built through three qualities. What is tamas, the lethargic part, or rajas, the active, or sattvic, middle part, right? The elements, panchabhutas, fire, patavi, apo, tejo, vayu, all these things, right? Senses of perception, senses of action, exist externally to serve the seer for enjoyment or emancipation. The nature, the qualities of the nature, how it's changing. So if you take anything, you have a tamasic percentage, rajasic percentage, and a sattvic percentage. Anything, elements, mind, your senses, your organs of action, all these are external things. These external things are there for you to either seek the pleasures in your life or use it for the liberation of you, right? Tools are the same. Tools are the same, right? These tools you can use to go after pleasures, or you can use them to go after liberation. So that's what Patanjali says in 18. So that's why they say, if you take the human body, the Upanishads, the Vedas say, human body is an instrument that you can understand the whole universe. The whole universe can be understood through the human body. This human body, these organs, these senses, if you take, is the whole development in this world as well. Starting from Einstein, or starting from Charles Darwin to Einstein, to all the scientists, right? Whatever developed in this world, whatever the materials that we have identified, right? Everything is done by humans at the end of the day. So imagine what humans can do. All the skyscrapers, yes, if you fall from the top, you will die, but it is built by the human, right? Everything for you to go to the moon, the knowledge is through this body. It's up to you. You use it for pleasures. Either you use it to go to moon, or you use it to go to heaven, or you can use it to go to hell, right? Up to you. Tools are there. That's why the human life is called as rare. So there is a poet called Avvayar in Tamil literature. So she says, getting a human life is rare. So Lord Murugan, Lord Murugan asked her while she was walking in the forest, what is rare? So this is a question, right? Then she answers, getting a human life is rare. Getting a human life without any issues, like your hands are not crippled, is even rare, right? And born in a particular gender is further rare. Then born in a particular caste is rarer, further rare, right? So she is basically then narrowing it down to what is rare. So the human life, all of you have got, is a rare opportunity. Imagine how many ants are there in this world. Imagine how many humans are in this world. And then imagine how many, all the organs are there in this world, living organism, non-living organisms. Out of that, what is the human percentage? So what sort of a tiny little probable chance that we are living in? So that is the precious material of all the tools that you have. So use it wisely. Either you can keep on enjoying the pleasures, or you can use that to attain moksha. That's what Patanjali says. Then 19, he says, the gunas generate their characteristic divisions and energies in the seer. Their stages are distinguishable and non-distinguishable, differentiable and non-differentiable. Meaning, Vishesha, Avishesha, Linga Matra, Alingani, Guna Parvani. Right? Meaning, these gunas are there with all of us, and everything, right? Depend on the percentage, how much you are active. Are you a sattvic person, rajasic person, tamasic person? Makes you either different or similar, right? So if you take a monks, right? If you take monks, right? So what happens is, so they are to a particular level, their sattvic guna are equal. If you take a particular, now you are belong to a particular organization, you belong to a particular community. Why? Because you have a common factor in these gunas, right? So based on that, you are defined as a person. But when it comes to these gunas, zero is what you call as you are a liberated person. You don't have tamasic, you don't have rajasic, you don't have sattvic. You are not influenced by any of those gunas. Basically, you are. So if I say everything in this world is based on the gunas, so as far as you are not influenced by the gunas, right, you are there. Okay. Then Patanjali says, drashta, drashta, द्रशिमात्रः शुद्धः अपि प्रत्यायानुपाश्यः, meaning the seer is pure consciousness. He witnesses nature without being reliant on it, meaning each and individual person, each and individual human soul has the ultimate truth on him, right? But due to the Glaciers or due to his nature of using the sense organs, this particular truthness is covered. So the truth lies on you. Each and every one of us, the truth is there. We know, we do have the spiritual knowledge, but depend on the environment that we're living in, depend on our needs, wants, likes, dislikes. We are living in a particular lifestyle. So this particular lifestyle make us not reach this particular ultimate truth. You don't like the ultimate truth. You don't want to go there, right? Agree on that, right? Because we all of us, so that's why when we are talking, we all are now reading Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Why you didn't read it so far? Why you didn't read any philosophy so far? Why this knowledge feels like brand new, right? It's not that you don't have the capacity to understand. You do have the capacity to understand. You do have the capacity to even practice, but you have a lifestyle. You have bondages. You have likes, dislikes, right? You have habits. All of these things don't let this particular layer flourish, right? That's why a monkhood is seen as begging, right? That's why a monkhood is seen as so hard, right? Why? Because we live in a separate whole world altogether. Right? Then Patanjali says, nature, intelligence exist solely to serve the seer's true purpose or emancipation. The nature, this whole universe exists. Why? To show you the liberation, right? It's just like, I'll take a simple example. You take environmental pollution. What is environmental pollution? Basically, we are changing. So due to environmental pollution, this greenhouse gases and all these things will come into play, the earthquakes, tsunamis, all these things come in. So why this is happening? Why? Number one, nature is there to help you to go to the liberation, but you are going against the nature. So nature is giving you results out of that. At least through those results, you need to understand the impermanence of life. Sukha dukkha, karma and reaction. So nature will always, whether you do good to the nature, bad to the nature, nature will come back again and give you a lesson how to reach the liberation. Nothing happened in this nature shows us that life is permanent. Nothing happened in this nature shows us beauty is permanent, right? Whether you hurt the nature, whether you don't hurt the nature, basically it shows you everything is impermanent. So nature is there to tell you the purpose or show you the way to liberation, right? The Prakriti. Okay. Then the relationship with the nature sees for emancipated being, the enlightened person, the relationship with the nature terminates. Its purpose having been fulfilled, but its purposes continue to affect others. Meaning, the one who enlightened, one who understood the truth of the nature, so there is no relationship with the nature. Now, why you have a relationship with the nature? Because we are different. Now, let's say if myself and Janthan, if we are identical, all what we know is identical, all what we do is identical, all what we say is identical, then do you and myself, do we need a separate relationship? We don't. If you and I are identical in everything, you and I don't need a relationship. There is no relationship because I see myself in you. You see myself in me, right? So there is no need that I needing a person. So likewise, if the whole nature, right, this whole existence, if you understand that this whole existence and you are the one, then there is no other separate relationship. There is no other separate. So the separate relationship will exist if there is a difference, right? So for the liberated one, there is no separate relationship with the nature and you. But for non-liberated people who are going after pleasures, there is always a relationship with the nature, right? Nature and them are totally different. So there is a transactional relationship between these two people, right? Good. Sutra number 23. The conjunction of the seer with the seen is for the seer to discover his own nature. Same thing, why you have the nature, why you have yourself, is to basically see that nature in you and then discover your own nature, right? So don't worry about these things. These things look a little complicated, but don't worry about it, right? They say, swami sakyatoho swarupo palabhi hetu samyogaha. The conjunction of the seer with the seen is for the seer to discover its own nature. So there is you, there is nature. Why you have you and nature separately? Because you must learn from the nature so that you become the nature. Right. 24. Tasya hetu avidya. Lack of spiritual understanding is the cause of the false identification of the seer with the seen. What you see and what you are, there is a difference. Why? Because there is a avidya. We learned what avidya is. We see the pleasure, we see the pain as pleasure. We see the impure as pure and pure as impure. So having that logic, having that vision only makes you, or not having the spiritual knowledge, avidya, is the false identification. Why you think there are two things. Right? Then tad abhavat samyogo bhavaha hanam tadresha kaivalyam. The destruction of this avidya, ignorance is avidya, through the right knowledge breaks the link binding the seer to the seen. Nature and you, there is a bond. This bond will be destroyed by the right knowledge or the spiritual knowledge. Then we become one. And this is what you call as liberation, nirvana, moksha, emancipation, or in Patanjali's words, kaivalyam. right? So breaking this bond of seeing you and the nature as two people through the spiritual knowledge, where you see yourself and the nature is one, is what you call as Kaivalyam or Nirvana, right? With one more sutra, I will end up. Viveka Kyatihi Aviplava Hanophayaha. Vivekatya, awareness of knowledge, right? Then there's a spelling mistake here. Judgment. Aviplava, undisturbed or unbroken. Hanopayaha. Upayaha. Hanopayaha. The means for removal. The way to remove. The ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge in thought, word, and deed destroys ignorance, the source of pain. The ceaseless flow of discriminative knowledge in thought. So always whatever the actions that we do, the karmas that we do are threefold. One is through manas, the thought, vachika, word, and the action. I hit you, right? So if I can tame those three things with the spiritual knowledge, then I can find the source of the pain and go beyond it. This is what Lord Buddha did. This is what Shiva did. This is what Murugan did. This is what Krishna did. This is what Allah did. This is what Jesus Christ did. Right? So they have found, okay, what is the source of pain? Then this is the source of pain, the bondage, the clingingness to life, all of it, right? So then they thought, okay, I am being given this life because of my past actions. Right, now let's use this life, this toolbox of myself to learn the spiritual knowledge, find the source of pain, and then be with the nature so that we finish off the deal itself, which is called the nirvana, moksha. So just because you are born to this world, to your family, to this country, to this city, and we are going through all these things right now, it's not all negative. Right? These are life's experiences. These are basically giving us, showing us how this world is operating. But for us to understand it with the brain, we are given a human form, right? Not a dog's form. If you are given a dog's form, the dog will starve to death because the owner can afford money. But owner is a human who has some knowledge. Okay, if not this job today, I will go for farming tomorrow. Right? For that, you have to have the capacity to become from an accountant to a farmer. Right? So that you can go through actually spiritual knowledge. If you have spiritual knowledge, you know whether doing a white collar job or a blue collar job doesn't matter. Why I'm doing a job? Because I need to have a living. Why I need to have a living? Because I need to nourish my body to explore the spiritual knowledge. That's all what you are, why a spiritual sadhaka would live for, would do a job for, right? So then if you can tame your word, action, and mind, so you basically can become the ultimate nature. So once you become the ultimate nature, meaning you are dying with a balance sheet of 0, right? Then there is no birth again. So imagine right now if you are born in the most comfortable country in this world, Switzerland. Will you have the Indic knowledge? What is more important, living in Switzerland? See, I don't know. I might go to Switzerland tomorrow, so don't criticize me then, right? But I'm saying, so living in Switzerland versus having the spiritual knowledge, what is more greater? Spiritual knowledge, right? The wise man is not a spiritually wise person. Wise man is a educated, academically, professionally wise person, right? Who has money, who is doing all sorts of things, right? Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Tempting the sensory organs, all of these things, right? But having the spiritual knowledge, the person will earn money. So those are the people who actually donate money, who don't have a value for money. But you do your part of your life to the world. If you are a cricketer, you do the cricket to the best. Then you take money and then you give it to the poor. Or you use that money in a dharmic way. So playing cricket is not wrong. Playing cricket is not an attachment then actually. You play cricket with detached action. Why? Because you are given a precious human life. You are supposed to do a duty to this world. You do that. Then you earn money. Then you actually give that money or spend that money in a proper way. Right? So that's why you should so that's why there are greedy people who earn money, right? And there are people who work so hard, and then you earn money, but that money actually gives a benefit to the world, right? So that's why don't criticize anybody, don't criticize any job, even a butcher's job, even a person who kill animal. So if you are killing the animal to take care of your parents, all that money you take care of a parent, and then give dana, right? Give food to poor. Actually, then you are doing a detached job. You are not earning that money for your own pleasure. You are earning that money for others. Then who are you? Right? You are equivalent to not doing an action or doing an action. Doesn't matter. You are not greedy to earn money for yourself. Right? So that's why every job is a noble one as far as the outcomes of the job is utilized correctly. Understood? Got it? Good. So next week, what we are going to learn is the 7 spheres of knowledge. There are 7 spheres of chitta, the knowledge that a spiritual sadhaka will go up. And then we are moving into Raja Yoga, which is the Ashtanga Yoga by Patanjali. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Dharana, Dhyana, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Samadhi, all this. So this is the path to what Patanjali explains. So Buddha explains one path, the Jnana Marga. And then Krishna explains Bhakti Marga, Jnana Marga, both. So likewise, Patanjali explains, this is the logical steps you should go, right? Which is the practice of this whole yoga. This is the logical steps you should go in order to purify your body, purify your mind, purify your words, purify your action, and then go towards the liberation, right? Okay, so we will stop the session from here and I'll open the session for any questions. I'm happy to take any question. I'm really thinking that you have questions today because the lesson was a little confusing. So that's good. All right. So we close it. Here. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.